Welcome back to Unraveled Beer Thoughts, and today we have another beer tasting. Woohoo! One of the random beers I chose from Red Gap Brewing. That's the brewery there. I'm not familiar with this one. It's called Three Star Stout with bourbon pecans. So, I'm guessing this is not a bourbon barrel aged beer, but it's just infused. Three star, blah, blah, blah. The three star was a man convinced the fight for freedom is worth fighting for. He was bold, well spoken, and loved. On his desk was a sign that read, "Always with honor." This milk stout is named for him to awaken the memory of his life and celebrate the joy. Starting with our base milk stout, this has been infused with bourbon aged pecans. So, it's a milk stout. Well, a milk stout is a style of beer that I do like. Usually, I like the lactose in the beer that smooths out. I think there are like oatmeal stouts tend to have to some degree a similar effect. Like Samuel Smith's oatmeal stout is a really good smooth stout that I like. That's not real heavy. It's not the Russian Imperial stouts that I really like, but for some reason the lighter stouts I really like that sort of that lactose feel or the oatmeal that smooths out the beer a little bit. It's a lot of fun. Makes it a little tastier, a little more drinkable. I think it gives a full mouth feel, a little bit more of a full mouth feel than just a standard stout that might be what 6'9", 6'4", 6'5" to 7-ish. I think once you get over 7, it becomes an imperial stout at that point, I think. But let's see the this milk stout from whoa. So we've got some good head on that. More than I thought there would be. I realized I just turned the can sideways to show you the label, but that is a pretty rich head right there. And it's not just dissipating real quick. So yeah, that bodes well. I mean, there's the roasty notes that I would expect from a stout. I don't know that I pick up on pecans. I don't know a lot of sugar in the aroma either, which my my thought on bourbon aged pecans is I think I'm picturing candied pecans in my head, and so what I'm thinking is, oh, it's going to be really sweet. But if it was just pecans that were just soaked in bourbon for a while, and then they poured this on top of those pecans during the fermenting process, I could see it being a more subtle flavor. I live in Texas, so we have pecan trees all over, and they're fairly common around here. So I have definitely a good feel for a pecan because we get more of them, I think, than other places. There might be, I don't know. To me, the aroma is just it's a stout, milk stout, maybe. Nothing off the top. It's creamy. It's smooth. It's tasty. Little bit. It's 7.3. I think there's a tad more alcohol kick than what I think there should be in a 7.3. It's not a bad beer. I I don't know that I'd go out of my way for this beer, and it's not because it's bad or anything. It's just because left hand milk stout, pretty solid. The bourbon pecan does not come out in this in such a way that I'm like, that is some good bourbon pecan flavor. I don't know that it's missing entirely. What I probably think has happened is the bourbon pecans have probably made this, if I had to guess, it's a pretty average milk stout taste more exceptional. So it would be interesting to taste this next to a left hand milk stout. I would see this having a tad more depth than maybe the left hand milk stout, but I think the left hand milk stout is probably a more well crafted milk stout. Um, this doesn't really have a whole lot of lacing when it comes to the head. It had a really great head, but it's not lacing the way I think enough something with a little more lactose in it probably would. And that could be the bourbon coming off the pecans that's kind of thinning it out slightly. I don't get as strong, and maybe there's a tad of bourbon in there that's the alcohol. That's possible. I wonder how much their regular milk stout is as far as ABV goes. If it's like a 5.5 and now it's a 7.3 because of the pecans and the bourbon, and maybe there's a little sugar off the pecans that gets eaten by the yeast, possibly. There's just some interesting thoughts. So again, not bad. I'd probably rate this around. I might give it a 3.75. I wouldn't hesitate if I saw it in the store and there was nothing else that I was really looking for. I might grab it. It seems like a good beer for drinking around the campfire. I do like that it has a little bit of a heavier mouthfeel. It's great for the winter. There are some certain environments where I think as far as stouts go, I might choose this over other stouts. I personally favor an imperial stout, so this is kind of average compared to that. But for a milk stout or a regular stout, this is on the better end for those beers. So probably for a stout, I'm gonna say this might be a tad better. So 3.75 is about right. I can't give it a 4. It doesn't get to that scale where it's like I'm gonna start looking for this beer specifically, but not a bad beer. So what was the name of it? 3-star stout with bourbon pecans, 3.75. Thanks for joining me on Unraveled Beer Thoughts today, and have a great afternoon.